Hi guys and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a near full face of Bobbi Brown featuring one of the new Bobbi Brown holiday eyeshadow palettes. It's the one in Sweet Decadence. I don't think I reviewed the holiday palettes from Bobbi Brown last year. I think I did the year before and the year before that as well. And these never disappoint. And I thought the color story of this looked really pretty and I couldn't resist. I also picked up the Luxe Eyeshadow Duo in Sparkling Pink. Now I won't be using this today, but I'll probably use it in a future video. I thought that was gorgeous. Has a mauve shade in it and a really pretty pink as well. So let's get started. I've done all my skincare for the morning, and of course sunscreen is the last step, and I applied a little bit more sunscreen probably about 15 or 20 minutes ago. Now for my primer, I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown one. This is, I think it's called the Face Base. Yep, it's the Face Base one, and this is a generous size tester that I received a little while ago when I purchased from a shop here in New Zealand. Now this face base is really beautiful and I used to use it for years and years, mainly as a moisturizer, because it just feels beautiful on the skin and it has the most glorious scent. It's fresh and citrusy and just feels absolutely gorgeous, but it also works really beautifully as a primer as well. Now I have oily skin, so today it is more on the cooler side. It's a little bit warm, but not too warm. But in the middle of summer, I probably wouldn't use it as a primer. I'd still use it as a moisturizer, but not as a primer, because I'd need something that is a little bit better at oil control. But for those cooler months and a day like today, it is perfect. And I think it does make skin look really beautiful. It's been quite a while since I've used it, and the smell is so beautiful, and it actually does give a beautiful base for the foundation on top. So for the foundation, I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown. This is the Weightless Skin Foundation. It's got SPF 15 in it, and I think this was reformulated because it replaced the older one that was suited for normal to oily skin. They've replaced it with this one. Now this one isn't as mattifying as the one that they used to have, but it still does help keep those oils at bay. So because this isn't quite as mattifying as the older formula they used to have, I would say this is suitable for those to oily combination and normal skin as well. Now this one is in the shade, I think it says beige on the bottom. I will have everything listed and linked below as usual, and I'm just going to do one pump. It seems quite, only releases a small amount, so I might just do just another half. Now when it comes to Bobbi Brown foundations, they can tend to throw quite yellow, but this one doesn't do that. And I think in the original formula I had it in the same shade as well, but it took me a bit of trial and error with these foundations because they do tend to throw yellow. So I'm applying it today using a beauty blender, but I've also used this with a brush as well, and both ways it applies really beautifully. This does give a really beautiful finish to the skin. I find that it doesn't settle into my lines and wrinkles, and it is buildable as well. So I'm starting off, especially when you're with a beauty blender, it'll give a light coverage, and I will build it towards a medium coverage. So the name of this one is quite suitable when it says Weightless Skin Foundation, because it really does feel weightless on the skin. It doesn't feel like you are wearing a foundation. And it is true to the whole line of Bobbi Brown, really just a very natural and just perfecting what you have without making anything too mask-like. Now I've used Bobbi Brown cosmetics for many years, and they are still at a fairly good price point as well. And I don't think I've ever purchased from Bobbi Brown a fail. The only time there was a fail was with a different foundation, and that's because I bought the wrong shade and it was really yellow. But the weird thing with it is that once it had settled down and I powdered my face, it actually looked quite good, and the shade of it actually looks really good in photos as well. So I think that it does just look very natural and very skin-like as well. Now I do need to powder this foundation. It gives a very, and this is where it differs quite a lot from the one it replaced. It does give a glow, but it's very, very subtle. So it's very hydrating for your skin, but without making it go excessively greasy. For the concealer, I'm going to use a Bobbi Brown one. This is the Intensive Serum Concealer, and this one is in the shade Natural. This is really beautiful, has really beautiful skincare ingredients in it, and it's very hydrating under your eyes. It doesn't settle into my lines and wrinkles, and it's just a really, really beautiful concealer. So I'm just going to just tap that out and blend it. And then, like I usually do with all my concealers, after it's sat there and I've done my eyeshadow primer and eyebrows, what I do is just go over it with my fingers as well, just to meld it into the skin. Hi.
I'm in Cambridge.
Okay, I'll put it through and let them know you're 15 minutes away.
Okay, I'm just going to go to the butcher's first.
Okay, and once you get there, just give me another call and just let me know what bay you're in.
Okay.
Okay, bye. So I've put on some eyeshadow primer, done my eyebrows, and also I've powdered under my eyes. And for the rest of my face, I'm going to use the Chanel Natural Finish Loose Powder. And going to use a puff just to put that on. Often I use the Mer Powder Brush as well. But at the moment, I'm just enjoying just setting my foundation at the moment using the puff that comes with this. Because it gives, the Mer brush is really good, especially if you buff powder in. But a powder puff really does just, it just perfects it, just that little bit more. And I always really enjoy using a powder puff. I always think it's a little bit extra. So I've got my phone on while I'm doing this video because my husband has gone to pick up the groceries, and what I do is I do an online order, and then you've got to let them know when you're lock in a time, and then you've got to let them know how far away you are, and that's why he rang. And then because it's through my phone number and my name of the groceries, so then I just tap something and let them know that it's 15 minutes away. And then once he gets there, he parks into a certain car park that has and he'll then tell me the number of that, and then he'll ring me again and let me know, and then I just tap the app again, and then they'll come out with all the groceries loaded in the boot for him, and then he'll be on his way home. So for the bronzer today, I'm going to use a Bobbi Brown one. Now this one is quite old. This is in the shade Medium, and I haven't used it for quite a while, so I'm not quite sure if it's still okay. It still smells fine. Actually, I've got a little hair on my brush. I'll just take that off. I'll just pick up a small amount. I don't think there's any reason why it won't work. Blending out really, really lovely. So I don't know how, I might be about three or 4 years old, this bronzer, but it's still performing really well. And I do like the shade because I think it's very natural and it doesn't look orange in any way. It just gives that really beautiful sun-kissed look without showing like that's a person that's definitely wearing bronzer. So let's take a look at this eyeshadow palette. It has a shelf life of 12 months from date of opening, but they last a lot longer than that from previous ones that I've purchased. This is also made in China as well. And I was just having a look on the packet to see how many grams is in here, but I can't quite see it. I'll just put my glasses on, have a closer look. So with the matte eyeshadows, it says on the back, they are 1.5 grams each. And then with the shimmer eyeshadow, they are 1.5 grams each as well. So here's what the packaging of the eyeshadow palette looks like. It's a beautiful pink and white with a swirl there. and got the gold around the outside and the gold Bobbi Brown logo. I think it looks really, really pretty. So starting at the top, you've got a warm cream matte, a sugar coated shimmer, the next one. Then the next shade is Citrine, that's a shimmer. And then you've got Sandy Brown, and that's a matte. Now on the bottom row, you've got Honey Bronze, which is a shimmer. Pink Champagne, that's also a shimmer. Toasted Taupe, which is a matte. And lastly, you've got Dark Chocolate, which is a matte as well. And here they are swatched. They felt really lovely when I was swatching them. I think this is going to give a really pretty eye look. So first of all, I'm going to start off with a matte, and I'm going to go into this shade here. This is a Victoria Beckham brush. So it's nice and fluffy. And just going to take that all over the lid. Won't be able to see the shade very much. And I'm just going to just take it up onto the brow bone as well. Then next I've got my Rapper number 14, and I'm going to go into this shade here. They describe this as a taupe. So I'm going to put that in my crease and also take that up onto my brow bone as well. Now these are blending out really lovely. So that's one thing with Bobbi Brown. I know when I buy a palette that they are going to perform really well. And for me, they really are a trusted brand where you just get really pretty eye looks from it. So I'm just dipping in again. Just put a little bit more on this side. Hi.
That wasn't quite what I was expecting.
Why?
Pushed the trolley to the back of the car and walked away.
Oh yes, no, they do that now.
So I was standing there, I'm going, should I unload it? How do I know?
Yeah.
Because I went to show him my thing when he came out and he wasn't interested. He just pushed the trolley.
Yeah, no, they can be quite rude. Oh.
So I just load these in.
Now, while I was talking to my husband on my phone just then, I also put this same shade that I've just put through the crease and onto the brow bone, the taupe shade. I've also put a little bit on my lower lash line as well. So now let's go into this beautiful chocolate colour. I'll just wipe my brush, but I'm still going to use the same Rapper 14. We'll go into this one. There is a little bit of kick up in the pan. That's usual with Bobbi Brown, but that's fine. Just need to go just gently. I do love a brown shade. You probably get sick of me using brown shades in my videos, but the different shades you can get, whether it's a lighter brown or a deep chocolate like this one, I just love a brown shade. I can't stop using them. So that was the first time that my husband had picked up the groceries like that. He's done lots of grocery shopping before, but that's the first time he'd done it with that system. And I won't go into the full story, but it wasn't quite what he expected. And he always makes a joke out of things, and it was quite funny. But anyway, he's on his way back home, so I want to get this video finished. So I'm going to use a couple of the shimmer shades first, and they're both going to be the pink. First of all, I'm going to use this one here, and then this has a little bit more sparkle in it as well, and I'm going to put that one over the top. So start off with this lower one here first, and put that over the rest of my lid. That is really pretty, and it has really good payoff as well. I'm just going to turn the brush over. Might as well use the same brush. Go into the top shade in here and put that over the top. This is really going to make it sparkle. Very, very pretty. Plenty of payoff. I'm not finding there's any fallout, but I do go quite gently in palettes. I don't dig in. But even sometimes if I go with different brands, when you use them, even if you do go quite gently, you can still get fallout. But there's none with this. That is just so, so pretty. I'm also going to put that shade in my inner corner as well. So I'm just going to grab another Rapper brush, the Rapper number 3. And again with this shade here that has that sparkle in it. It's so pretty. pop that in the inner corner, and I think I also might put a little bit on the lower lash line as well, just through here. Now because it's Bobbi Brown, you have that beautiful, beautiful sparkle, but it's never too much. It always just looks really flattering. And I'm just going to stay with this brush and go back into this deepest shade here, and I'm also going to put a little bit of this on my lower lash line as well, just in the outer third, just to give a little bit more depth. And then just using a small fluffy brush, again, stay with that beautiful chocolate shade. And I'm just going to add a tiny bit more in the outer corner, just down here. And even though you can hardly see it, I find when I add even more depth, just on the very outer edge here, it does make a difference. It's a subtle difference, but it does add that really beautiful depth. Now I'm just going to grab a soft fluffy brush that's clean and just gently go over that just to diffuse it, and then also over the rest of the shadow as well, just so there's no harsh lines. So I put on a little bit of eyeliner. It was a Bobbi Brown one, but I don't have a Bobbi Brown mascara, but I do really like the mascara from Bobbi Brown. I think it's called the Smoky Eyes mascara. I used to use that one all the time, and if you're looking for a really lovely mascara that gives really beautiful volume and doesn't transfer, then that is a really great mascara. So here is the finished eye look, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful. It was simple to do, blended out really well, and really just gives a pretty look. So let's get into blush. I'm going to use a couple of Bobbi Brown blushes. This is the Pot Rouge Velvet Matte, and I've mentioned these before, and I really love them. Now what I love doing with a couple of these shades is I've got the shade in Maple. Now I'm not sure whether the shade Maple is in the US or not, but they do have another deeper shade. So if you want to use a deeper shade like I am, and then with a lighter shade over the top, then the other one that they have in America, that one would be just as lovely. It's just that I happen to pick up Maple because I bought both of these here in New Zealand. These are beautiful going on, and they are just like they say, they are a velvety type matte. So first of all, they go on similar to a cream, and they go to this beautiful velvet. So I'm going to put on Maple first. Now this is quite a deep color, so I've just got to go fairly carefully. I don't want to pick up too much product, so I only went in very, very lightly. But these also have really good lasting power too, these blushes. Sometimes with these type of products, your skin, especially if it's more oily like mine, can tend to eat blushes, but this one stays really, really well. So I've just gone in lightly because I only just want just a hint of this deep color. You could build it up if you really wanted to. There'd be no problem with that, but I just don't want it to look too deep. I just want just that hint of blush. Now I'm just going to wipe my brush down, and over the top I'm going to put on the shade. This is the one in Petal Pink, and it's so pretty. So just give my brush a really good wipe down. Now with this one, this is quite a sheer shade, so I can go in a bit more with this one and just tap that through here. So you've got that really gorgeous brown and this really beautiful, really pretty pink over the top. And I think together those shades look really, really beautiful. Just tapping in there again. And even though the shade is more sheer, it's just so pretty. It looks really pretty by itself. It's just that I quite like pairing a brown with pink, and especially because I'm wearing the brown and pink on my eyes as well, I think it looks really, really pretty. And then for lipstick and also lip gloss, they are both Bobbi Brown ones. So here is the finished look, and I think that it's come together really, really beautifully. I'm pleased that I use the face base again. As I said, I haven't used that for quite a while. Used to use it for years, but it really is a beautiful primer for a foundation. But I used to use it mainly as a moisturizer years ago, and it works beautifully as that as well. The Bobbi Brown foundation is looking really beautiful. I don't have to repowder it. And even though it isn't as matte as the one that they replaced, I find that I don't need to repowder it very much during the day. Maybe in the summer I might need to do a touch up maybe once or twice, but today it's going to be warm but not overly warm, so I probably won't need to powder it again. I think the foundation looks lightweight, just like they say, and also very natural looking as well. The eyeshadow palette is really pretty. Bobbi Brown doesn't disappoint. I skipped last year's, I reviewed it the year before that, and I think the year before that as well. Pleased that I decided to pick this up again and review it for you guys. It is gorgeous. Now, of course, this is a cooler look with the pink, but the golds, and you could make it warmer again, that would look really beautiful as well. So it's quite a versatile palette. You do the cooler look, neutral cool look, and you can also do that neutral warmer look as well, but not overly warm. I think again that would just look really, really pretty. So overall, love the palette. It blended really well and it just looks gorgeous on the eyes. I love the blushes, those velvet ones. I think they are so pretty. Initially I just picked up the dark shade and I loved it so much that I went and picked up that pink shade as well. They always just blend out beautifully and they just look really gorgeous on the cheeks. The Bobbi Brown lipstick is beautiful. I think it's in the shade, I think that might be the one, Pink Nude, and then one of their glosses, it's a shimmer gloss, but not, again, because it's Bobbi Brown, it's not too much. It just has a very gentle sparkle and overall just looks really, really pretty. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.